Open that drawer. You know the one. 3 cables that match nothing, 2 dead batteries, a key that opens nothing you remember, and a bag stuffed full of other bags. You haven't touched any of it in months, maybe years. But every time someone says throw it out, something in you pushes back. Not with logic, with a feeling that says loud and clear, no, this could come in handy someday. Here's the strange part. That someday almost never comes. But the feeling that it might is enough to keep the thing right where it is. This isn't messiness. It isn't laziness. And it definitely isn't hoarding. Just in case isn't a decision about the object. It's an emotional statement about the future. And there are 3 reasons people do it. The first is the hardest to see. The memory of scarcity. At some point in your life or your parents' or your grandparents', not having something when it was needed had real consequences. No money to replace it. No store nearby. And that mark never leaves. Psychologists call it the scarcity mindset. Once a brain has lived through real lack, an old cable isn't trash. It's a resource. And it gets passed down. You don't have to have lived through it yourself. You just grew up in a house where throwing out something useful felt like a sin. That voice saying, "No, wait," isn't yours. It belongs to someone who learned that waste is dangerous. The second is less obvious. Control. The drawer isn't memories. It's a system. Every saved object is a scenario handled, a variable locked down. If it breaks, I've got the spare. If the power goes out, I've got the candles. Researchers who study anticipatory anxiety describe this exactly. You can't control tomorrow, but you can control what you have on hand when it comes. The security is an illusion. But saving does its job anyway. It doesn't protect you from the future. It protects you from the anxiety of thinking about it. The third surprises people the most. Some keep things because letting go hurts. Not the object, what it represents. The shirt that doesn't fit but was your favorite at 20. The box from the sneakers you bought with your first paycheck. These are emotional anchors. Proof that something happened. That someone was there. Psychologists call it the extension of the self. Throwing them out isn't cleaning a drawer. It's amputating a piece of your history. Keeping things isn't a problem in itself, but there's a point where it stops being caution. When letting go causes more distress than keeping. At that point, you stopped owning the object. The object started owning you. So next time your hand stops before throwing something out, notice what you feel. Don't think. Feel. Because the difference between "this could come in handy" and "I can't let this go" is the distance between a habit and a wound. If it's a habit, no big deal. Close the drawer. But if it's a wound, now at least you know where to look. If this hit close to home, a quiet comment is enough. And if these deeper topics pull at you, subscribe, because the next one might explain something about you that you haven't discovered.